Hey guys, what's up? It's been such a long time since I've done any type of trade review. I feel bad about that, but I've just been traveling around a lot, um, and just going here and there doing that. We're currently in New Mexico, but um, but yeah, so I'm working with a guy who is trading or getting into trading Nadex Touch Brackets. Now, touch brackets are kind of like a built-in little, I don't know, they're kind of like a way for you to trade the indices without, having to, put up obscene amounts of capital. Um, and I kind of have the touch bracket marked here. Now, Nadex closes at the end of the day at like 5 p.m. and it basically opened about 14 points from the touch bracket low. So it's basically at where I want to take profit. I was looking to take profit down here anyway. We'll get into the analysis in a minute. Um, it would be really cool if this thing kicked me out while I was recording this. So hopefully it'll push down a little bit more. If not, it's basically at the bottom of this touch bracket. I think the max it's going to pay out if it hits is 836 or so, something like that. So we'll have to see if we can get a little quick push down while we're on the video here. But anyway, so the top of it is how these work is that once they're open, the top it opens with like a top and a bottom, okay? And you can buy and sell any of these touch brackets whenever you want. So, say you wanted to buy at this big green candle here. Anybody who bought, once price gets to this line, it's going to kick them out for, a profit or whatever that profit is. Whereas this bottom line here, right here, is the uh, floor or, kind of a built-in stop loss. I mean, that's a huge inverted risk to reward, but you get the idea. Okay, so what I was able to do this morning was it's set up beautifully to the point where I entered was basically up here at the peak of this wick here. And my stop loss was essentially going to be, had I been trading these traditionally, basically where the top of this touch bracket was. So it worked out perfectly. Now, if we get into the analysis here, let's just clear everything off here and look at kind of like a 4-hour chart, because that was the bread and butter of this analysis was done on the 4-hour chart. And I want to set before anything, I want to set an alert or something just in case I'm not paying attention to what price is doing. Just bear with me for a second. I think the bottom of that, let me go to a lower time frame. If we punch lower than that, it should take me out pretty much. So if we get below that, then I want to be notified. Anyways, back to the 4-hour chart. So no surprise that the market's been in a heck of a turmoil. Here we had this huge rundown with the coronavirus. We kind of slowly drifted back up after bottoming out around 18,000. And you can see the structure that was beginning to formulate here. Price was being contained by this little uptrend once it was established, and it ended up actually kind of being like a squeeze or a wedge pattern or whatever you want to call it. But we broke out of that recently. All right, so once we broke out of that, you have to kind of entertain the idea that, hey, maybe price is ready to move a little bit lower. Okay, this is what was containing price to the upside. We kind of broke and closed below some structure levels here, down here, teetered around a little bit before pushing back up. So two things: this could be fake, and it was just a quick little fake out, push below structure. Where people's stop losses at? They're all down here below previous lows. Take all the stops, move up. Okay, or that could be like a legitimate move, and that's kind of signaling that, hey, the market's ready. We're starting to break structure. We're breaking out of these, the ascending trend line that's kind of maintaining price. We are breaking major structure levels. This was a pretty major structure level for several days. It held over and over again, and then it was broken. So we have to entertain the fact that, hey, maybe price is ready to move a little bit lower for now. So with that being said, then you kind of start building your trade entry or whatever. Okay, I'm not one to trade breakout, so I wouldn't have sold here, just because if you look at the context of the market, you're essentially selling at what ended up being the bottom of an impulsive move. Okay, and in the market, the way the markets move, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, and after you make a new high, eventually you're going to what? Pull back. Okay, so I never buy high and I never sell low. I'm always waiting for price to do some type of pullback. Okay, so I'm not interested in just jumping in at a break of structure level or a breakout. I'm not a breakout trader. That's not my style. Okay, it doesn't jive with me. I want to see, some violations, and then, shifting in trend, and then I'll just wait for a pullback. All right. So with that being said, what else can we find? Delete that. What else can we find to kind of give us, some, confluence in and around an area that's potentially, a value area for a trade? If you bring in just a sore thumb high to sore thumb low, there was a 61.8 fib retracement. Let me just see where we're at. Okay, this thing, okay, that thing should be taking me out right now, my alert. Okay, there it goes. It just kicked it out. So it touched the bottom of the touch bracket. I didn't have any working order set. It touched the bottom of the touch bracket, and that was it. Okay, so I'm glad that I got that on recording for you guys. Anyways, let's continue. So that ended up being, I don't know, 800. It looked like 850, 860, something like that, more than I was anticipating. So that's cool. So let's finish up with this 61.8 fib retracement. When I'm planning a trade, I always have some type of Fibonacci involved in my trading decisions. So the first thing I'm doing is get this magnet off of here. I am mapping out like my kill zone or whatever. Okay, so my kill zone is, typically if I bring up a 50% retracement here, anywhere between a 50 and a 78.6 fib retracement. That's just kind of like my sweet spot. I don't like shallow pullbacks. You can see a lot of times, sometimes shallow pullbacks, just kind of, you'll get a quick pop and then you'll get a move to a higher fib level. That's just what I'm comfortable with. I'm not saying that those shallow pullbacks don't work. In fact, they're significant of strongly trending markets. So if you are good at identifying those strong trends, then you can capitalize on those shallow pullbacks and look for those extended targets. But that's really not my style. I'd say 95% of my trades are taken between the 50 and the 78.6 fib retracement. So that's the first thing I'm looking for. Anything, I'm starting to build structure within that zone, okay? And the first little level of structure that I'm seeing is anywhere in here, okay? And what's lining up there, that automatically kind of tells me, hey, I don't really want to get involved in this trade until this happens or until these levels fill. So we can also take a little trend line down that's kind of, it's hard to see on the 4-hour chart, but you can kind of see a ever so slightly sloping downward movement, and you can connect those, and that ended up being perfect. It worked out great. Okay, the other thing here on the hourly chart was, again, impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective. That's what I'm looking for, and this was setting up nicely as a corrective structure. Okay, so what had happened in the overnight was we had set up a range. Okay, you can see the range here. Pop, 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 just ping-ponging back and forth. And then we broke out, ripped up to those levels, and showed some bears off of it. Now, I didn't get involved at the first test of that because I missed it. I was, we were chatting with, I was chatting with my student guy, and we were just kind of scrolling through charts, and this one just popped up, and we said, hey, let's take a look at this, and dropped down to a time frame. It filled some nice levels that are attractive. So let's see where we can potentially get involved with this. And since you're into Nadex, let's see how we can use those touch brackets to our advantage. And so the trade was activated once. So we came back down, kind of retested that, and pushed up a little bit higher, and then broke back inside of this channel. Okay, now when we drop even lower to a 5-minute time frame, which I don't activate a ton of trades off of the 5-minute time frame, but in this case I had missed the entry, so I was trying to figure out the best place for a lower high. Okay, if this was going to be the high, if we're going to tap these levels in reverse, where can I find a lower high entry? And again, I'm not a breakout trader. I'm not trading breakouts. I'm trading on the pullbacks and trying to get those premium entries. And looking at the fib structure coming out of this little area here, you can see just how perfect it was, beginning to respect the 61.8. Now we had one opportunity which we missed as well. We had already tagged that, and this big candle was already initiating downward. So we had to wait, a good almost an hour before we finally teetered out here, bottomed out, came back down, retested this little support or resistance level here, and then started to trend back up. Now, once we did that, I want to see, is there anything else within that little area that's attractive? Okay, again, technical analysis works on any and all time frames. Okay, so initially we had drawn this and we were hoping for a push up right in and around here, but it didn't happen. It kind of traded sideways a little bit, but that doesn't invalidate this for me. Remember, these are higher time frame levels, so I'm interested in those. And eventually we popped up. You can see kind of the very short-term support resistance formulated here on this 5-minute chart even, and that's what ended up holding, and this was our entry somewhere around 1224, and right on this candle here it must have been. And again, touch bracket stop loss was up there. Take profit, you saw, was just hit, and it was the bottom of this range. So once we broke back down inside this range, then it's all about managing the position. Okay, what fibs are holding? Again, 61.8 held perfectly, and then it dropped. Okay, you can even visualize this as the true impulsive move where the bearish pressure stepped in, and again, 61.8 held. Okay, where's our profit targets? Well, they lined up perfectly with this touch bracket low, and that's where we took profit, and it did it for us. It was a beautiful trade, perfect entry for me, perfect entry exit, and it was all started off the higher time frames, and it was just trade management. Okay, I hope this helps. I hope you guys find value in this. Stay safe in this crazy world we're living in right now, and I will chat with you guys later.